on here. Mustafa Mohamed. Watching on as a substitute tonight, and I imagine that we'll see a lot more of him on the bench. Watching on as a substitute tonight, we'll see a lot more of him on the bench. A record in Ligue 1 in recent times has been absolutely remarkable. Just one defeat in 41 on their. The winner will be named next month. One of these 9 PSG players nominated for that award, Kvaratskhelia, Désiré Doué, are among the substitutes tonight as well. Very, very rare, in fact, completely unheard of for a team to rest so many key players on the opening weekend of the domestic league season. But they are the European champions, and I'm not going to translate all of what that banner says, but they are very much celebrating. French club to win the biggest prize in European football after Olympique de Marseille in 1993. Nantes were semi-finalists in 1996. Here's Benatab, ball in, looking for Amion, I think it was in the middle. Calvin Amion, the captain, in the attack. Well, I've already seen Yassine Benatab a couple of times in the early stages. He is one to look out for. First opportunity in League 1 for him. Awazian, the Nigerian defender. That's Anthony Lopez.
Pakola. Hernandez. Vitinha. Sabani. Pakola. Natürlich geschickt von Luis Enrique, dass er derart rotieren lässt, dass er nur 4 Spieler überhaupt auf dem Platz oder der Startelf belassen hat, die auch gegen die Spurs im europäischen Supercup begonnen haben. Damit schürt er gleich zu Beginn der Liga-Saison den Konkurrenzkampf. heran. Hyeok Kyu Kwon.
Hamid also returning it to Tilel Tati. Here at the Stade de la Beaujoire. Nantes hoping to catch the champions cold on the opening weekend of the season. The corner is headed away by Tati. Maybe Nantes can break here. It's nicely done. Kept on by Le Penon. Nantes still going. And it will be a goal kick, but great running from Herba Girassi. We saw him break through under Antoine Koumboire last season. He starts tonight, and just worth emphasising that Nantes' leading scorer last season, Mathis Abline, 11 goals, also played more minutes than anybody else. Is only a substitute tonight now. Was reported up a knock, but the feeling is that nobody in this city, whether connected to the club or just a fan, really thinks he is that seriously hurt. There's been a lot of talk that he might be on his way, that he might be interested in a move away. Of course, there's lots of interest in him. Benatar runs that ball out for a throw. Abline was linked with Olympique de Marseille. Marseille were put off by Nantes' asking price. Paris FC come up from the second tier, have money to play with, by all accounts. Made an approach, and Abline might have been interested, but again put off by the asking price. And interest in him from the English Premier League too, so let's see if he remains at the club beyond the closure of the transfer window on the 1st of September. The second top scorer from last season, Moses Simon, they're really popular now. Ruiz. Recruitment at Paris Saint-Germain, they must be thinking that they need to surely Gonzalo Ramos will be needed. Lee Kang in as well, but Ruiz across to Zabarni. clearance. Now Vitinha. Again defending their penalty box well. Let's see what they can do on the break here. The challenge coming in on the referee. Line play to continue. This is Benatab. You might say he very intelligently went to ground as soon as he felt the contact there, the French international defender up against Leroux. Lucas Hernandez just before that, sliding in. Champions of Europe beginning their defence of the Ligue 1 title tonight. Month of May, UEFA Super Cup added to that. The first ever French winners of the Super Cup. By it's two Nantes defenders and open on the way to Tinel Tati. Once again, the coach is unhappy with the decision to just clear that ball long. You can understand why they've done it, because they are being penned in. Vitinha. Again by Tinel Tati. Early stages of adapting to how their new manager wants the team to play. There's a feeling that it's the right time to move on from Antoine Comboiré, even if former Nantes and PSG player had enjoyed considerable success across two spells in charge here. It's a bit more ambitious in terms of the way they play, but without the same means at their disposal. They've sold a lot of players this summer. The most recent one, Nathan Zeze, a very talented young defender, sold for a big fee to Lyon in Saudi Arabia. Here's Lee Kang in, again PSG winning possession back high up the field. He bring it by, looking to come inside Kotza. Bayer's got it back again. And Vitinha. Vitinha tried the shot from range, it sails over the bar. Standing on the ball effectively, unable to make anything of the chance here at the Stade de la Beaujoire. That's the view from up above. Very proud of their football team in this city in the west of France, near the mouth of the Loire River. 8-time French champions. The most recent title back in 2001. Pretty regular champions between the mid-1960s and that triumph, which immediately preceded Lyon's run of 7 consecutive titles, and then, of course, in the beginning of the last decade, PSG began their dominance of French football. Luis Castro is not expected to turn Nantes into title challengers. I would like them to be featuring more prominently at the top of the Ligue 1 table than they have been in recent times. Finished 13th last season. PSG under Luis Enrique romping to the title. Let's not forget as well that PSG didn't lose a Ligue 1 game last season until the end of April, when they were beaten at home by Nice. Luis Enrique with some instructions for his players. PSG only returned to training 7 days before the UEFA Super Cup match. Had that trip to Italy, they got back early on Thursday. A little bit more time spent at their training base to the northwest of Paris. Fascinating experiment, really, to see if a team can have a successful season despite not playing any friendly matches. And look at a lot of the other Ligue 1 teams, they were back in training in late June. They still had a long 5 or 6 week break. And particularly the clubs lower down the table, not too many of their squads would have been away on international duty at the beginning of June. So they'll be fully rested and ready to go. Not the same for the PSG players. Now just a bit of a delay here because a firecracker, as you can clearly see there, being launched from behind the goal, just in front of where the PSG fans are gathered. And exploding on the pitch. Benoit Bastien, the referee, coming to have a word with the match delegate. I imagine there will be an announcement relayed across the stadium's loudspeakers here. That's exactly what's happening. Benoit Bastien, the referee, will not allow play to restart until he feels there's a bit of calm. Not what we want to see on the opening weekend of the season. Luis Enrique looking fully focused, PSG's Spanish coach. Loisien down the line for Kelvin Amion. Mohamed, the Egyptian striker. Usually you want him to be on the end of balls into the penalty box. Instead it was him putting the cross in. That time not to have a corner kick. Half an hour into this game. A terrific atmosphere inside the Stade de la Beaujoire, of course, is always the case at the beginning of a new season. These fans full of hope and optimism. Lift the roof off this place if Nantes can take the lead here, but the corner kick is beyond everybody. By Louis Leroux. Inside Emery for Paris Saint-Germain. Of youngsters to watch here tonight. Brandon by among them, still learning. Foul throw from him. Nantes, one of the substitutes this evening for PSG, in a fantastic season. Incredible engine on him. Left back. Benatab, good first touch. Can he stay in front of Lucas Hernandez, who's working to get back? He gets the ball in towards the near post. Lucas Chevalier hasn't really had anything to do yet. Benoit Bastien has given the decision PSG's way there, and that is not something that the Nantes fans agree with. The Nantes coach is also very unhappy with that. That was good though from Benatab, showing great pace. Just needed an option, arriving in the middle. Lucas Chevalier getting something on it, and then Lucas Beraldo fouled Mohamed. Chevalier with the clearance, hasn't had much to do yet. His first Ligue 1 game as a PSG player. A bit of an up and down debut for the club in midweek. Considered at fault from the second goal scored by Tottenham. Did save a penalty in the shootout. Zabarni. Very much a 4-5-1 out of possession for Nantes. Vitinha to arc that ball in behind the Nantes right back towards Barcola, but too much on it. Of course, the intensity levels are not there from Paris Saint-Germain. You can't expect that of them this early in the season after a truncated summer break. The travelling fans enjoying themselves. It's a decent old trip down here to Nantes from the capital. 2.5 hours on the train and 4 hours by road. Some of these intrepid PSG fans, of course, have really been following their team far and wide in the last few months. Zabarni under pressure from Kirassi, heads it back to Lucas Chevalier. Two new signings starting for Paris Saint-Germain tonight. Lee to Ibrahim Mbaye. They're still going. Tackle on him by Kwon. Zabarni. Here's Lee. Lucas Hernandez. Beraldo. Fabian Ruiz. Sitting back and waiting. Kept a clean sheet in the Ligue 1 match against PSG in nearly 2 decades. Let's go back to February 2006. 28 meetings between the clubs since then in Ligue 1. And Nantes have always conceded. But remember, they held PSG home and away in the last campaign. By Barcola, straight into the arms of Anthony Lopez, the two former Lyon players. Came through, but I think Lionel Lopez with a long career there, finally ended all the way through last season. Lopez clearing long towards Mustafa Mohamed. Can they pick up the second ball? No. Zaire Emery still going. Zaire Emery cuts it back to Ibrahim Mbaye. Into the middle, space here for Lee, chooses to take a touch. Mawaziem is able to make the block. It was a pretty clear sighting of goal for Paris Saint-Germain. Fabian Ruiz from Barcola again. Barcola skipping inside. Survive again. And back the way. Lopez will send this downfield. Concedes the throw. Girassi, one of the exciting young talents that Nantes have in the books here. And, 20 appearances last season, scored a few goals as well. Girassi. The referee's given a free kick in favour of the home team. Benatab. It's nicely done. Amiens continuing his run forward. He's got Louis Leroux ahead of him. Leroux lets that ball run across his body in Zabani with the interception. Behind it goes for another corner to the home team. I wouldn't say they had to weather a storm in the early stages of this match, but they have sat back and soaked up what pressure PSG have put on them. They looked relatively comfortable defending their own penalty box, and suddenly maybe just sensing that they might have an opportunity to get a goal before half-time. Corner played short, and it's Leroux with the ball towards the back post. And it comes to nothing. Vitinha, good play again from Vitinha out to Bradley Barcola. Can the French international winger do here? Just one way then the other, and tries the shot, which is an easy save for Anthony Lopez. Barcola. Picked up by Vitinha. Fabian Ruiz. Barcola again. Ousmane Dembele in the starting lineup tonight. Barcola was PSG's second top scorer last season. 21 goals behind the 35. Ousmane Dembele. Ronaldo does well up against Mustafa Mohamed. Fabian Ruiz to Vitinha. Ibrahim Mbaye. So into the challenge, the loose ball is collected here by Zaire-Emery. Fabian Ruiz don't really want to too often try a shot from long range. Collected by Lopez, and he's seen a chance here for Benatab to run into space. Here is Benatab. Comes inside Beraldo, just tried to play cute ball angled towards the run of Mustafa Mohamed, and PSG defend that situation well enough. Mbaye aiming to spin away from Kotza. Zaire-Emery. Here's Bradley Barcola. Barcola's shot comes off his teammate. It's fallen for Fabian Ruiz. Maybe Ramos can make something of this. Stays on his feet up against Lopez and looks to chip the non-goalkeeper. It's come off the crossbar. That would have been some goal, but Ramos found the net from that angle. Still the pressure is on. Fabian Ruiz may keep this in play. Girassi back helping out. Picked up by Zabani. wins the free kick. France under 21 international. Marcelo Ramos got to that ball before Lopez stayed on his feet. Some players might have chosen to go down and look to win a penalty, and then from the angle, well, was it a shot? Was he just trying to clip across towards the back post? In the end, the touch by Lopez is what directed that ball towards the frame of the goal. Very nearly the breakthrough for Paris Saint-Germain. It's goalless here. Much changed PSG team compared to their usual first choice starting 11. Just worth emphasising that they didn't lose a domestic game last season until the 25th of April. It was a few days after they came here and drew 1-1, and it was a few days before the first leg of their Champions League semi-final tie against Arsenal. So their minds were elsewhere at the time. They'd already won the Ligue 1 title. Did then lose another game. They were beaten home by Nice and then beaten away by Strasbourg the following weekend, but those were their only defeats in the league last season. And indeed in domestic competition, there were a few in the Champions League. It might be easy to forget now, but they did struggle to convince in the league phase of the Champions League last autumn. Beaten away by the likes of Arsenal and Bayern Munich, beaten home by Atletico Madrid, but goodness me, they came back in some style after the turn of the year. A remarkable run of results, taking them to glory in Europe for the first time in their history. I would say they could have been dining out on that success ever since, but it's been such a busy summer for them that they've not had time to. Zabarni, there's Vitinha. Barcola to Lee, and there's the header from Lucas Hernandez. You often see him in that kind of position. Easy save though for Anthony Lopez to deny the former Atletico and Bayern defender. Tati to Kotza. Nearly half time here. There should be a couple of minutes added on because we had that break for refreshment, and we had that little break as well with the object thrown from the stands. I expect to see maybe 2 minutes of stoppage time. Fourth official is about to raise his board. He just wait for this action to play out. Benatab with quick feet up against Lucas Hernandez. Touched on by Le Penon, who gets the break of the ball, but Vitinha with the challenge. We're going to have 4 minutes in the end. Benatab has been an interesting outlet for Nantes in the first half. He's getting his chance in Ligue 1 after being the best player in the 3rd tier here in France last season with Aubagne. It's an obvious thing to say. It's a big step up from that league to this level, particularly when you're playing against the champions of Europe. And he has looked very lively. Just seeing confirmation that Luis Castro, the coach, has picked up a yellow card. Exactly what that is for, I'm not sure. It's now showing a yellow card for Kelvin Ami. Luis Castro suspended from the touchline. Sitting just along from me, up in the stand here this evening, the Nantes coach, remember? Vitinha. Back away to Lucas Hernandez. Ronaldo. So Emery will that run behind. It's another Paris Saint-Germain corner. So before the intensity levels are not there for PSG, a lot of their Ligue 1 games can play out like this with attack against defence situation. Their opposition happy to sit back and soak up the pressure. That's how it's been in the first half. Lee's delivery into the arms of Anthony Lopez. Shot again from Lee Kang-in, the block to deny him. That was a very decent chance for Paris Saint-Germain. And Nantes have a free kick here. We've had 9 attempts on goal from PSG in the first half, just 1 from Nantes. Not been enough in an attacking sense from them, but I suppose the question then is, will we see Mathis Abline after the break? One of the most promising young players in French football. There he is. Scored away to PSG last season, a really good goal in that 1-1 draw between the teams in the capital. Followed by another 1-1 draw between the sides here in April, just under 4 months ago. Is too high and collected by Lucas Chevalier, who's had a very quiet 100th Liga appearance so far. The successor to Gianluigi Donnarumma, who is still at the club, remember? Barcola. Fabian Ruiz giving it to Ibrahim Mbaye, the youngster popping up on the left wing at the moment. Here's Vitinha. Vitinha, and there is the half-time whistle.
Well, there is a half-time whistle after the first 45 minutes. Still no goals between Nantes and PSG, although the Paris Saint-Germain with most attempts, but nothing clear enough to open the scoreboard. We'll be right back for the highlights at the moment, right here on beIN Sports.
When I was 5 years old, my parents went crazy because at home they wouldn't let me play football in the house.
but I would always get the ball out, and I broke a few things. When I was 10, I remember my mother buying me waterproof tracksuits at the shop, for the top and bottom. And each time they'd come back ripped and torn from playing football. So finally, I just got normal sweaters and trousers because I was ruining them all, and they'd only last a day. When I was 15, I remember many road trips with my teammates at that time. Lots of good memories and stories with people who are still my best friends in football today. At the age of 20, I have great memories of my first matches with Getafe, my first games in La Liga, in the first division. It was a dream of mine since I was a child to play in La Liga, and I did it.
Y ha sido un sueño desde pequeñito poder llegar hasta primera.
Welcome back to the Express, right here on Bein Sports. Let's take a look to the first 45 minutes. Nothing clear as we were talking right after the whistle. PSG with more attempts, but nothing very clear to open the scoreboard. There was one, but it was a great deflection and great save by Nantes goalkeeper, the Portuguese Anthony Lopez. Actually, this was one of the most interesting part of the game, but lucky it was nothing to worry about. There was this rebound after Chevalier save, but there was a foul against PSG's defender. Then a great cross, and the header right next to the goal of Chevalier. And at 39, Barcola with the attempt, but Anthony Lopez keeps that ball. Getting close to the 45 minute. Fabian Ruiz trying to find Gonzalo Ramos, and then with the cross, but Anthony Lopez with the finger, with a great deflection, avoiding that possible cross to end up in the goal. So Nantes and PSG with no goal so far.
As the supporters sing, he's Italian and Parisian with the talent of a magician. And today, he's in the Paris Saint-Germain history books one more time. When AS Monaco visited the Parc des Princes on the 12th of January, Marco Verratti turned out for the club from the capital for the 300th time. This is Paris now takes a look back at Il Gouffetto's 7.5 years in Rouge et Bleu.
Verratti qui prend sa chance et ça fait 1-0. Petit paradis, mais très grand par le talent italien. La mise de Verratti, 4-0.
Festival de Verratti, indispensable dans le milieu parisien.
Welcome back to the Express. Halftime here on beIN Sports. 12 won so far. Mustafa Mohamed with 5. Girassi 4 as well, like Lucas Veraldo from PSG. Amiens and Awasim with 3. Both of them so far after 45 minutes. Nantes and PSG with no goals. We'll be right back for the second half here on beIN Sports.
Corsia gets past his man. Sebastian Corsia with the cutback, and Colomboani with a blistering strike to give Nantes the lead. Searching pass into the box. Delors gets up well. Gaëtan Laborde with the shot. Oh, he struck it beautifully, Laborde.
With Di Maria, the early pass for Mbappe is a good one. Look at the pace of Kylian Mbappe. Oh, and he scored. Too much pace for Axel Disasi, and Mbappe, who scored twice here last season, has opened the scoring.
Hello away from Camavinga. Ben Arthur. Ben Arthur works the shooting chance and scores against his former club.
Lovely ball. Great speed as well about this Brest counter-attack. Cardona. Here's Onoa. Goes for goal! Oh, what a brilliant strike by Frank Onoa.
Ability, fervor, rigor, intensity, courage, authority. Africa. The land of emerging football talent. A new challenge is underway. The African Nations Championship. 3 venues: Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania. 19 national teams formed by players from domestic leagues. On beIN Sports.
Aquí los partidos son indescriptibles. For those who know and those about to, conocerás el fútbol como ningún otro. ¿Estás listo? Watch Extraclasse. Watch Extraclasse. Watch Extraclasse. Live only on beIN Sports.
Goalless draw so far between Nantes and PSG. Luis Enrique might take some of the starting 11 like Dembele, Desiree Doué, so stay tuned. Second half coming up next.
Premier Pedal hits peak season intensity. Cuello and Tapia, the Golden Boys lead the rankings. They claim their 8th title, 4th in a row. Meanwhile, the women's pair, Delphi Brea and Kema Triay, reach the top of the ranking following their win in Tarragona. The tour's next stop will be Madrid, serving as a high-profile warm-up for the Paris Major from September 2nd through the 7th, live on beIN Sports Extra.
Welcome back. We're almost ready for the second half between Nantes and PSG. Nil, no goals in the first 45 minutes. As Luis Enrique's team starting to jump onto the pitch. Barcola, Fabian Ruiz, and Valle. And it looks like the starting 11 will keep for the second half. He might use and make some moves for the second half, maybe later. He has Hakimi, Marquinhos, Nuno Mendes, William Pacho, Desiree Doué, Kvaratskhelia, and Ousmane Dembele. All of them regularly on the starting 11. It's been a long summer for this team. This season is just getting started. Nantes jumping onto the pitch as well. Waiting to see if the home team is getting any subs for the second 45 minutes at this match. Well, looks like there's no subs as well for Nantes or PSG. Meanwhile, Benoit Bastien, the official referee for this match, is ready as well. Right in the midfield, both teams are ready. The atmosphere as well, hopefully some goals at this second half between Nantes and PSG. Get comfortable, get ready, because the last 45 minutes are here on beIN Sports.
Paris Saint-Germain get us underway in the second half here. The reigning Ligue 1 champions, 0-0 at the moment here in Nantes tonight. A team that they could beat during their magnificent last campaign. Hardly been a foot wrong really in 65 matches, 2 draws against Nantes. Was not enough to knock them off course on their rampant run to another Ligue 1 title. Won 11 of the last 13 Ligue 1 titles. I think only ever won 2 in their history up to that point. Most of those coming under Carlo Ancelotti in 2013 when they succeeded Montpellier as the champions, and since then only twice have they missed out. Le Pennon for Nantes. Space on the right hand side for Benatab. What can Benatab do here? Comes inside and Lucas Hernandez stands up to him well. Le Pennon. It's given the home fans a lift at least at the beginning of the second half. Luis Castro, the Nantes coach, has just returned to the stand. I think he's going to be taken away for a live TV interview. Domestic television as the game goes on. Making the most of his presence in the stand tonight rather than down on the touchline as he serves that ban. New era for Nantes. And golden era for Paris Saint-Germain. Another League and Cup double in France last season. Did a clean sweep up until the Club World Cup, and even in the Club World Cup they were very impressive up to the final when they just ran out of steam really against Chelsea. Chelsea were very much worthy winners. Tati doing well to marshal that ball behind for the goal kick. Forwards. Mustafa Mohamed being pushed back the way by Lucas Beraldo. He's a bit short with the back pass. Brandon By nearly intercepted that. It's Vitinha. Zaire Emery, PSG of course having to adapt the way they play a little bit because Achraf Hakimi is absent tonight. He gives them such an outlet on the right-hand side, as does Nuno Mendes on the left usually. There's Bradley Barcola on the left from PSG, back the way to Lucas Hernandez, coming inside to perform the role of left-sided centre-back in a 3 when PSG are in possession. Lee Kang in. Trying to thread that ball in between two Nantes defenders for Zaire Emery. Not to come away with it. Here is the 19-year-old Louis Leroux giving it to Ben Attab. Off Lucas Hernandez. Some appeals for a handball. That's what Ben Attab is suggesting. By just 17, youngest of all the youngsters on the pitch this evening, a player in whom Luis Enrique has very high hopes. He's just sending Ousmane Dembele off to warm up. Désiré Doué is warming up too, and Nuno Mendes as well, and I would imagine that substitutions will be coming very soon. Zabarni. Fairly nice and easy for him on his PSG debut up to now. Big money signing from Bournemouth. Impressive couple of years in the Premier League with a very impressive Bournemouth team under Andoni Iraola. Working with another Spanish coach, Luis Enrique. Warren Zaire Emery. So by. For Lee, just a bit too much on that one. And runs through to Anthony Lopez. PSG up last on the opening weekend, up first next weekend. They play Angers at home next Friday evening. So just imagine 3 days on the training grounds between now and then. Luis Enrique to work with his squad. Meanwhile, a tough game next Sunday, a trip across country to Alsace to play Strasbourg. Coming off Gonzalo Ramos behind for the goal kick to Nantes as we see the view from up above once again. This has been Nantes' home for just over 40 years. To play at Stade Marcel Saupin in the centre of the city. The stadium on the periphery of town across the ring road. turned out in their droves this evening to support their team, the Nantes fans. Giving a decent account of themselves up to now, holding PSG, and Girassi doing well against Lee. Tati looking to clear it, it's fallen to Vitinha. Barcola, Amiel gets the foot in. Benatab. Nantes for Lee, lays it off for Ibrahim Mbaye. Makes the wrong decision there, and Luis Enrique is not impressed with that. Well, he is a young player, he's still learning his trades, and he made the wrong decision. I think it's fair to say. Maybe got caught a little bit in two minds, just played too much on that. And Luis Enrique does have very high hopes for Ibrahim Mbaye. Team again for this evening's game. A reminder that two new signings for this season, starting this evening. Lucas Chevalier has taken over from Gianluigi Donnarumma as their first choice goalkeeper. That has made so many headlines in the last couple of weeks. Donnarumma is still a PSG player. Chevalier has come in from Lille and will be the first choice. Donnarumma expected to move on in the next week or two. Zabani giving his debut this evening. Zabani on the ball here. Once again, a Nantes attack coming to nothing. Here is Ibrahim Mbaye. One of the latest youngsters to emerge from PSG's academy, which does bring through a lot of very exciting players. Not many of them managed to get a place in the first team. Shot from Lee, taking a deflection off Leroux, which removed the sting from it. And Lopez able to make the save. Ball over the top towards Bradley Barcola. It back to Fabian Ruiz, who tries the first time effort. It's deflected off court and behind for a corner kick. First corner kick in the second half then for Paris Saint-Germain here. The Stade de la Bourgeois in Nantes, as they look for their first goal of the season. He's called this back. I think ball may have gone out of play before coming back in again. And that's why it is not a goal kick. PSG scored 92 goals in total last season. Not far off an average of 3 a game. Not just 39. Much more than 1 a game on average. And they're missing their top 2 goal scorers from last season. That ball across the face of goal. And it runs behind for a goal kick. Bryce low centre. And Nantes are about to make a pair of substitutions here. As we see Marquinhos looking a little bit agitated. Herba Girassi being helped back to his feet. Mathis Sablin is coming on. Scored the most goals and played the most minutes for Nantes last season. His future is a little bit up in the air. Nantes do not want to sell him, and they don't really need to sell him because they've already brought in a lot of money from sales in the summer window. Ablin, it is said, might be quite keen to move on if the right opportunity arises. Or is it Girassi who's going to make way for him? The other one coming on is one of the new signings. Korean international Hong Jun-seok will enter the fray as well. So both teams enjoying their evening. And Paris Saint-Germain getting ready to make changes as well. Some instructions being handed down from one of Luis Enrique's assistants to the subs who've been warming up. Désiré Doué, Achraf Hakimi, Nuno Mendes. They are all about to come on. And the way in which Girassi landed is why his evening is over. I think he may have felt something go. That's what he seems to be suggesting with that gesture to the Nantes physio. And Yassine Benatab has put in a terrific shift. A very warm ovation for him from the Nantes fans on his Ligue 1 bow this evening. Benatab being replaced by Hong, who is an attacking midfield player, and Ablin on for Girassi. Possibly a little bit of a change in shape here for Nantes. Let's see. Mathis Ablin, really exciting talent. 11 goals last season. And you get this feeling that he is quite capable of going a long way beyond that this season, whether he's at Nantes or elsewhere. Here is Ablin, the 21 international. Giving it to Hong, who hits it. South Korean international, he's on loan from Mainz in the German Bundesliga. So it's going to be a quadruple change in a moment for Paris Saint-Germain. Doué, Hakimi, Mendes and Ousmane Dembele are coming on. Coming up to the hour mark, 0-0 in Nantes. Feel that PSG's lack of preparation ahead of this game would be a bit of a leveller. It's turned out that way. PSG lacking sharpness, not starting with their strongest team, but they're about to send on some of the real big guns here. As we see that shot again from Hong. Now into this game. Players coming off: Fabian Ruiz, Lucas Hernandez. Has been replaced by Nuno Mendes in the left-back position. Hakimi for Fabian Ruiz. Ousmane Dembele taking the place of Ibrahim Mbaye, and Désiré Doué replacing Lee Kang-in. Those are the four changes. Applause ringing out around the stadium. I think there are plenty of PSG fans dotted around the ground beyond the official contingent of travelling supporters in one corner of the stadium. Those changes definitively swing the game PSG's way. Beraldo looking for Achraf Hakimi. Here is the Moroccan. Played here for Morocco in the Olympics last year when they won the bronze medal. Let's not forget that Hakimi was involved in that competition, which ran into the start of last season. Gives you an idea of how little time off he has had year or so, and of course this campaign will run into World Cup in North America next summer, and in the middle of the season It's the Africa Cup of Nations in Morocco. Hakimi will be part of that. And Johan Le Penal, the two Nantes midfielders, are the players who've run the furthest the first hour or so this evening. Dembele and Hakimi will not get on the end of that ball. Achraf Hakimi, another of PSG's Ballon d'Or candidates. Feeling as that Ousmane Dembele is very much the favourite, as you might expect, given his remarkable contribution in front of goal last season. Absolutely dominant in terms of possession. With 500 passes completed, just 151 for Nantes. Barcola shot blocked. Desiree Doué was the star of the Champions League final at the end of May. He's not going to be that popular here in Nantes because of his ties to Stade Rennais. That's where he began his career. There is a very big rivalry between Nantes and Rennes. Hakimi, Ousmane Dembele. Trying to drive the low cross in, blocked by Le Penal. Up by Ablin, loses that to Hakimi. Dembele, a chance for the shot from Gonzalo Ramos, which is deflected wide. It will be a corner kick to Paris Saint-Germain, who keep the pressure on. It's delivered towards the back post, and wasn't far away. It was Lucas Peraldo who tried to just keep it alive, and then it ricocheted about. Corner was played short initially. Dembele's ball in. Peraldo's cutback, really it was, coming off Nicolas Kotza. Well, let's see if Nantes can hold on here, because PSG, with those changes, have really grasped the momentum. Desiree Doué to Hakimi. Dembele, touched by Doué. Hakimi, fighting ball towards the back post. It's turned behind by Hong for another PSG corner. And Luis Castro, the non-coach, is getting a bit agitated. That ball eventually coming off the upright. Corner again is played short. Here is Vitinha. Might he fancy the shot from range? Just taking a deflection and it's gone in. Luis Enrique can celebrate. Paris Saint-Germain are in front, and the pressure finally pays off. And the decision by Luis Enrique to bring on the big guns has paid off too. They played their part in really helping pile the pressure on the home defence. The ball coming to Vitinha, his shot from the edge of the box, taking a crucial deflection on its way off Awaziem, striking the elbow of the unfortunate Nantes defender. Surely has to go down as an own goal. Nantes 0, Paris Saint-Germain 1. midway through the second half. Nantes' resistance is broken. Of course, so frustrating. Luis Castro getting up and turning around and punching the wall behind him in a rage. I think just the bad luck really with the deflection doing for them really hard to take. Vitinha thought about another one maybe, near attempt from range. Dembele. Hakimi making the run forward, that ball is beyond him. Well, PSG had a bit of a slow start on the opening night last season. They did eventually win 4-1 away to Le Havre in Normandy, but they actually required 3 goals in the last 5 minutes to get the victory in that game. They went on to win their first 4 Liga matches on the bounce last season, but to go back too far to find the last time they dropped points on the opening night. Just 2 years, in fact. They drew at home to Lorient in Luis Enrique's very first match in Ligue 1 in August 2023, when Kylian Mbappe started on the bench. You may recall that time when he was frozen out of the club. He had all the doubts about his future at that stage. They went on to draw the following weekend as well in Toulouse, but didn't prevent them winning the title pretty comfortably. Well, looks like they might get all 3 points this evening. That just underlines the huge advantage they have over the rest of the clubs in Ligue 1. They are looking at another change. Victor Kvaratskhelia and William Pacho are warming up down below, and Luis Enrique is keeping his final substitution up his sleeve. Maybe just waiting to see how Nantes react to losing the goal. Just having a drinks break here. It's a feature of the Club World Cup, of course. PSG playing in that tournament in the US in often stifling conditions in a North American summer. For all they've been through, they're on course for a win on the opening weekend of the campaign. Luis Enrique just taking a chance to dish out some more instructions to his players. Some of them will be really feeling the effects. Just 3 weeks off, not exactly an ideal amount of time to get a break. Once meanwhile, a longer break, and then 5 friendly matches, but they lost 4 of them. They were beaten by 3 of their Ligue 1 rivals. Rennes, local derby, beat Nantes 3-2 at Nantes training ground. Angers and Paris FC beat them as well. You see the goal again, corner played short to Nuno Mendes, and then his square pass to Vitinha wasn't closed down quickly enough, and the shot for the Portuguese midfielder deflecting off Chidozie Awaziem and into the net, and that was a decisive deflection to beat Anthony Lopez. Let's see if it is given as a goal to Vitinha. It's not the most important thing, of course. What really matters is that PSG have the goal. So many links between these clubs, by the way, in terms of former players, and so many non-legends tend to come along and watch matches here. We'd often see Patrice Loco coming to town. Played for both clubs in the 90s. Was a time when these clubs were succeeding each other as champions. PSG won the title in 1994, a great team in that era, and Nantes champions the following year. challenge on Desiré Doué. PSG looking to put this game to bed. Nantes' record of not having kept a clean sheet against PSG in Ligue 1 since 2006 will run on. Hakimi, Mendes and Vitinha all standing around as ball. Vitinha just stepping away. Achraf Hakimi might well fancy this one. It's played short by Mendes. Vitinha. Picked up by Zaire Emery. Doesn't have anywhere to go there. He's given that ball away. Dembele. Doué picks it up, lovely footwork from Desiré Doué. Hakimi. Just crumbs for Mati Sablin at the moment. Anthony Lopez coming to collect that ball. Nantes may have held PSG twice last season, but wins against the Parisians have been few and far between for them in recent years. The last one in February 2022. Touch on looking for Ramos. Luis Enrique has made the decision for his final change, and it's Kvaratskhelia who's got the nod. He's been told to come back and take his training bib off. Georgian will enter the fray. His compatriot, Georges Michael Tante, scoring the winning goal for Lyon yesterday against Lens. Winning start for Paulo Fonseca's team. Barcola. Desiré Doué. Imagine that Gonzalo Ramos will be the player to make way for Kvaratskhelia. His last touch. Just involvement. Obviously persuading Luis Enrique to bring him off. It's not been a great night really for Gonzalo Ramos. 19 goals for him last season. Well then, Napoli didn't make anything of that, and possession turned over again. Nantes are going to make a change, possibly a double change. Ramos stepping inside. Risky ball back the way to put Tati under pressure. Corner to Tati, teenager. Corner again. And his compatriot. 3 Korean internationals involved in this game tonight. Touched by Doué. Ramos buries it. That should be that. It's not been the most convincing of nights from Gonzalo Ramos, but he's usually good for a goal. And after his crucial goal in the UEFA Super Cup against Tottenham during the week, he gets Paris Saint-Germain second this evening, and that should mean all 3 points on the opening weekend of the Ligue 1 campaign for the reigning champions. But was he onside? It looks like he might have been just off. The flag didn't come up, so that ball was played into the path of Ramos. The VAR team will be checking that. Big moment this, because if it remains at 1-0, there will still be some hope for her and the rest of the Nantes supporters. Did look like he was just offside. It's an offside call, black or white decision, so there'll be no need for the referee to come across and check the screen. It's just going to be a case of the flag being up. Confirmation that the VAR team have seen that, and Ramos is denied. The goal does not stand. Celebrations cut short. Gonzalo Ramos is now coming off, and Nantes fans weren't too impressed with the way he celebrated that almost goal. Gonzalo Ramos, who, by the way, played under the current Nantes coach Luis Castro when he was a youngster at Benfica in the youth system there. Ramos replaced by Víctor Kvaratskhelia, the thrilling Georgian winger, is on for the closing stages here. Change as well for Nantes. Bon Hyuk-kyu, the Korean midfielder, being replaced by the experienced Francis Coquelin, ex-Arsenal and Villarreal midfielder. And Mustafa Mohamed's evening is over, and a new signing, Amadi Camara, who is just 20, he's from Mali. And he takes the place of Mustafa Mohamed up front for the remainder of this game. Fresh legs, really, just what Nantes need now. Perhaps some fresh ideas as well would be good. Card is shown to Achraf Hakimi. For that challenge. Late into the tackle. That's why the Moroccan has been booked. Luis Enrique's made all 5 possible changes. See if his team can see the game out now, and the withdrawal of Ramos and the introduction of Kvaratskhelia means that Dembele is going to play in that number 9 role. Kvaratskhelia left, Barcola right, Doué is in the midfield. Inside Emery, either side of Vitinha. Mendes with the ball over the top, too much on that surely for Kvaratskhelia. We'll run through to Anthony Lopez, who's played nearly 400 Ligue 1 games. Vast experience at the top flight of French football. We are in the final 10 minutes here in Nantes this evening. Nantes have often struggled badly at home in recent years, and it looks like it's going to be a losing start in front of their own fans here tonight. They'll have a really difficult game next weekend in Strasbourg against Liam Rosinior's team. Perhaps one thing that might play into their favour next weekend is that it will come between the 2 legs of Strasbourg's Conference League playoff tie. Home to Brøndby, Danish side, on Thursday, and then they'll be off to Denmark, to the edges of Copenhagen for the second leg the following Thursday. In between, they'll be playing Nantes in that European tie. Let's hope that Strasbourg can come through that and make the league phase of the Conference League. You'll recall that last year Lens were the French representatives in that competition, but were beaten by Panathinaikos of Greece in the playoff round. So we've already had disappointment for France in Europe this season. Nice being beaten by Benfica in the 3rd qualifying round of the Champions League. So there's only going to be 3 Ligue 1 clubs in the league phase of the Champions League this time. Nice will have to settle for the Europa League. Lille and Lyon will be in that competition too. PSG, Marseille and Monaco in the Champions League. The draw for the league phase of the Champions League, by the way, is coming up in less than 2 weeks' time. Mendes driving towards the box, has touched back to Anthony Lopez, a bit of an awkward one for him. And he's got himself into trouble. Showed a bit too much of that ball to Bradley Barcola, was able to get it clear just in time. Nantes have not really managed to trouble Lucas Chevalier at all evening, and especially not in the second half, and that will be source of some disappointment for Luis Castro. This Dunkirk team didn't cause real problems for Paris Saint-Germain in the French Cup semi-final. Ended up a 4-2 defeat for Dunkirk, but they were very impressive in that game, but not this evening. Have find it difficult to cause real problems. But, certainly, back to the changes they made around the hour mark, bringing on Ablin. He's not really been able to influence the game since his introduction. Vitinha, back to Zabarni. Desiree Doué. Doué works it out to Kvaratskhelia on the left. Slots rolled down as ever. Tries the shot. Straight into the arms of Anthony Lopez. Signed from Napoli midway through last season. Kvaratskhelia. Nice footwork from Louis Leroux. The other end a few moments ago. Most exciting young players emerging at Nantes at the moment. Ablin does well to bring that ball down. Leroux's pass out to the right-hand side. Camera. Kelvin Amion continuing his run, but ball runs through to Chevalier. PSG won on penalties against Tottenham during the week, and looks like they're going to edge the victory this evening here in Nantes, but still 6 minutes of the 90 plus stoppage time remaining. Nantes are going to make one final substitution themselves. It's going to be a midfielder coming on, Demen Tabibou. Stripped and ready. Ousmane Dembele. Lifted forward, but it runs through to Anthony Lopez. And here is home. Coquelin, nicely experienced Francis Coquelin with a switch of play to the far side. Camera, all of the same. Mehdi Camera has just come in. He was signed from Sturm Graz, the Austrian champions. He is on loan. Played for Sturm Graz on French soil last season, the Champions League.